What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the
fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on YouTube shit. Hey man, we are lit, eh? Lit that team, man. Turn. Today, motherfucker, day. Show you outside. Big crib and the gang show you outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo. Russia, do your thing, and Texas, stand the fuck up. Each day is going to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, I'll fight back. Never let somebody tell you you are, but also never put yourself in a position alone. Let's stay humble. Let's go on a revolution on the movement. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to this black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Today, it's motherfucker day. Show you outside. Big crib and the gang show you outside shit, man. Turn up. Bruh. What did I tell y'all people, man? Secret organizations. Rituals, occults. You know what I'm saying? A lot of evil shit that's going on. It's a lot of people in higher positions. The Congress, the government, the elites, the 1%. We got reptilians. We got kids disappearing. We got people disappearing, organ harvesting. We got people drinking blood. You know what I'm saying? And Trump, he like the main person who's finna like not expose it, but at the same time expose it and bring it back stronger than ever. This shit is getting crazy, man. With the Epstein Island and all this shit that's going on, man. Y'all finna see what's going on. And they stole our religion. So, bruh, it's right in front of our eyes, man. We gotta wake the fuck up. Let's get into it. Shout out to the truth is, man, we got Trump and Epstein Island. Shit crazy.
Right now, we are witnessing one of the most blatant attempts of covering up a horrific crime ever seen before. While Trump might be trying to convince people that there's nothing there and to move on from the Epstein's files, this Epstein victim might not agree with what Trump is saying, as she knows that not only many people were involved with Epstein, but that this entire situation is being covered up. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos exposing the truth weekly. In today's episode, we will be looking at the story of Juliette Bryant, one of Epstein's survivors. But before we begin, I just wanted to let my Patreon members know that I just released a new Patreon exclusive about the Iran war, the Epstein cover-up, and how it all connects to the New World Order. If you're one of my members and you haven't seen that video yet, make sure you check it out after this one. If you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Join the truth movement and help me spread the truth. For $3 a month, not only would you be further supporting the channel, but you would also get access to over 50 exclusive videos that are not allowed here on YouTube. Like this new Epstein video that if I would drop here on YouTube, would most likely end my channel. So if you want to further support the channel and see these exclusive videos, join the truth movement. You can find the link to my Patreon in the side, claiming that one day when they could, they would expose the truth about Epstein. Now that day has finally come, and instead of exposing Epstein, they're choosing to do the opposite. They're choosing to cover up all his crimes. Recently, Donald Trump was talking about the Epstein files, where he told people that the Epstein files are boring and that no one should be interested in them.
Curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
This app pays your...
Let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Ironically, he said this while standing next to Epstein's neighbor, the man who literally lived next to Epstein and had a home that joined with Epstein's home. So think about that. Here we had President Donald Trump telling people that the Epstein files are boring and calling anybody who cares about the Epstein files evil and selfish people while standing next to the man who was Epstein's own neighbor. That should tell you everything you need to know. This explains why they're trying to cover everything up. If you pay attention, you can see that Epstein's neighbor is in the video laughing, having a good old time, because he knows what Trump is saying is ridiculous. There's a dark reason why they don't want to release the files. It's not because it just implements them to be friends with Epstein. It's because of what Epstein was truly doing. The Epstein Island wasn't just a place for creeps to go hang out and do things to little girls. No, it was an island where they did their demonic satanic rituals and practiced all types of evilness. It was more than just fulfilling their dirty desires. All of this was ritualistic, and that is the main reason they won't release the Epstein files. Because the moment those Epstein files are released, people would finally realize that those who run this country are evil occultists who are deep into dark magic. This is why Trump and others are trying so hard to cover this up. And it isn't just Trump. The Democrats covered it up too. They spent all those years in office and they didn't release it at all. It's not about blue or red, Republican or Democrat. It's about protecting their own. They themselves all committed the evil crimes Epstein committed, and they're not going to out themselves. They would never release this information because if it does come out, there would be no more government. Both sides are as dirty as the other. It doesn't matter which one it is. They're both serving the same agenda, the Masonic agenda, and it doesn't matter who's in office. While Trump is telling us to forget about the Epstein files and move on, the victims are telling us to do the opposite. As Juliette Bryan just recently did an interview where she let us know exactly why we should keep the pressure on this situation. Recently, Juliette Bryan did an interview with the YouTuber Blair White. During this interview, she spoke about how she met Epstein and ended up being trafficked by him and what she experienced on his island and everything else she saw that disturbed her truly. What Juliet said not only confirms that the government is trying to cover this up, but it also confirms that what Epstein was doing was very deeply rooted in the occult. During the interview, Juliet speaks on how she met Epstein. She claims that the first day she met Epstein, he was with Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton.
Me, of course, I really wanted to be a therapist and I wanted to help people. And then one night I was out with a friend of mine and we met a girl called Naja Hill. We didn't know who she was at the time. Of course, she was just a sort of, no one really does. But, apparently now she works for Fox News. But she approached a friend of mine and I and said that her friend Epstein was here, Jeffrey Epstein, and he was with the President of America, the ex-President Bill Clinton. She said he was here with Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey, and he owned Victoria's Secret with Leslie Wexner. And she said it would really help my modeling career to meet them. So, of course, I was like, I wanted to meet them because it seemed like the most legitimate opportunity, It seemed like a dream come true, really. We went from the restaurant bar to the restaurant where they were having dinner. And they were all there. Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, they were having dinner with a few government officials. I'm sorry about my dogs in the background, but everyone understands. Protection dogs, got to have,
Yes.
So the government officials didn't stand up and meet us, but Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, and Jeffrey Epstein, they all stood up and shook my hand. And I was very starstruck, and I didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was at the time. Obviously, no one did. I just thought I was some man who sort of runs the world, King of America. That's what I was told, with the president and all these other people. And I was just starstruck because I just turned 20 years old. I was young, and I'd never met any celebrities in my life. Anyway, after we left there, then Naja Hill phoned me the next day and she said Epstein really thought you have a lot of potential for modeling and he'd like to see your modeling book. Will you please bring it to the hotel where they're staying for a modeling casting? But before the modeling casting, they're going to be doing a speech at a university in Cape Town. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course, So I got in my car, I had a little City Golf, and I drove there and then I got in they had buses, but small mini buses, and I got in the bus with them and went and watched Clinton's speech.
As you heard for yourself, Julia tells us exactly how she was brought into this lifestyle. She wanted to be a model, and that's what led her to be introduced to Epstein. Her friend introduced her to Epstein as an opportunity to make it bigger in the modeling world, and from there, she began being used and abused by the biggest elite in the world. This is how they do it to many. So many other Hollywood stars and models and artists go through the same exact thing to make it in the industry. This is something many people don't know about. Your favorite celebrity most likely was in the same situation as her. Most of them deal with the same exact treatment where they have to give themselves up for this opportunity. We saw that recently with the Diddy files, with all the victims that came out saying how Diddy had them doing all these compromising things for an opportunity. It's the same thing that they were putting this woman through for her opportunity. In another part of the interview, she talks about what she experienced at the island, claiming that it was an isolating experience and she would be called to Epstein's room 3 times a day where it was dark and she couldn't see anything.
When you're starting out with your finances,
3 times a day where it was dark and she couldn't see anything.
And what was your experience at the actual island?
Well, you know, Blair, they actually took me to all the properties. I was taken to New York, Caribbean, Palm Beach, Paris, and New Mexico. They took me to all of those places. So we can definitely touch on, you know, to speak about each one. The Caribbean, you know, arriving there was very isolated, of course, and, you know, they had our passports and, you know, we couldn't really get away. And the first day when I arrived there, because, you know, when they took me from New York, so we would land on, I don't know exactly which island it was obviously St. Martin's or St. Bart's. I think it was St. Martin's, I'm not sure. And then a helicopter would take us from there to the island. And, you know, when we were on the island, what would happen is we'd just be called to his bedroom, like in the day. Like, we were never called there in the night, which I think is, you know, like people think there was like alcohol and drugs. There was nothing like that. But we'd be called to his bedroom like 3 times a day. And on the first day, it was just me. And then the next day, like another girl was brought in. And then she started giving him a blowjob in front of me when we were watching a movie. But I just ran away because I got such a fright. So he sort of used to see how far he could sort of push people, I guess. Sorry, I get anxious about this. But, you know, when we were taken to his bedroom, it was always pitch dark and ice cold. The temperature in there was ice cold. And it was like pitch dark. And yeah, and then he used to like force orgasms from, like, that's what he did to me. I don't know what he did to other people. It was very like just like frightening, like, you know, it just really messed with my mind, to be honest. You know, like a lot of people want to judge girls who are taken there and stuff, but they don't know what it's like being kidnapped by the most evil people in the world. And people want to say I was a prostitute. I was never a prostitute. I've never been offered money for sex.
As you heard for yourself, Julia tells us exactly what they had her doing at the island. You could only imagine the things they had these women doing for Epstein. In another part of the interview, she gives her opinion on why she believes Trump is hiding the Epstein files, claiming that she believes they're all involved.
Feel about the Trump administration's statements this week about Epstein and the supposed client list. What are your thoughts on how our current government is handling it?
I think it's horrific, actually, especially when Trump gained presidency promising the list. And then now he's like, oh, why are we still talking about that guy? It's like, how stupid do they think we are? You know, what I want to say to Trump is much like he said to others on The Apprentice. You're fired. Well, he should be fired.
Do you think why do you think Trump is joining in the line of other presidents who have chose to keep this a secret? Why is he hiding the Epstein files?
Well, I think they all really work together, if you think about it. Epstein actually told me he was friends with Donald Trump. You know, when I was taken to Palm Beach and we drove past Mar-a-Lago, he told me that his friend Donald Trump owned Mar-a-Lago. So, you know, I think these people, they all run in the same circles. You know, it's much like if people who live in New York or people who live in London, if you're going to the bars and restaurants where the wealthier sort of contingent are going, you're going to run into these people. You know, and I just think it's absolute bullshit that Donald Trump gained presidency and now he's saying, who is that man? Why are we talking about him? Well, there are photos of him and Trump laughing together at the party that Trump held with all the girls around. There are many photos of them all together.
As you heard for yourself, she claims that Epstein himself told her that him and Trump were great friends. This is something that everybody knows. For some reason, Trump supporters are willing to deny it, even though there's so much evidence that suggests they had a relationship and evidence that proves that Trump was actually on Epstein's private jet. While there isn't 100% confirmation that Trump ever was on the island, we know he was on his private jet, and we already know what took place on that private jet. Trump and many of the elite were good friends with Epstein. They only started acting like they didn't know Epstein after he was exposed and they arrested him. Everybody fails to mention how they were still friends with Epstein after he was arrested in the 2000s, and then they covered up his crimes and let him back out in the world so he can continue to do them. Everyone still at that point was good friends with him. It wasn't until he was arrested that people started talking out. People also point to the fact that Trump has always been against Epstein because Trump had Epstein arrested in 2019. But just think about what happened after Epstein got arrested. He mysteriously dies, and no one to this day has an explanation how. They want us to believe that he took himself out, a billionaire, took himself out without even trying to fight the allegations with his billions of dollars. That makes zero sense at all. We know what happened. And in my opinion, it clearly appears that Trump helped Epstein escape, because I honestly don't think Epstein's gone. In my opinion, this was all a part of the cover-up. This is how they got Epstein out of the public eye, and he most likely is still alive. In another part of the interview, Juliet said some very interesting things, claiming that while she was with Epstein one day, she noticed him shapeshift, saying that his face, for a moment, turned into a demonic serpent-looking face. She claims that she knowingly wasn't on any substances, and that she truly believes that she saw this.
You know, and then I've got that flashback weird memory waking up in a laboratory with 6 people in hazmat suits around me and a female doctor, and I couldn't move. I was like paralyzed and I was naked and I couldn't move, I couldn't talk. And then this doctor came near my head and she said, "Don't worry, everything's okay," and I was out again. You know, and I also saw Epstein shapeshift on the island. You know, that was before. This happened in New Mexico. You know, when I was on the island, I saw Epstein like suddenly, and people have actually asked some pretty good questions recently. It wasn't like I saw him turning like the Incredible Hulk. What happened is, it was when I was taken in the bedroom the one time, and he had like a blanket up to here, and then I looked away and I looked at him, and suddenly it wasn't him anymore. It wasn't like I saw him turning. It was like it was him, and I looked away, and then when I looked back, it wasn't him. It was this weird creature, and then I looked away, and then I looked back, and it was him again. You know, and I can't really explain that. I mean, I can explain it as well as I can, and I can understand. Do you know what? If someone else told me this, like I keep saying, I wouldn't believe it.
He's a reptilian.
I'd be like, okay,
we all know
this person's
this.
either mad, or they want drugs, or something. But the problem is that I saw it, and I wasn't on drugs, like as far as I know.
100%. And just so you know where I stand, I don't think that people's unwillingness to believe something that sounds fantastical, or I don't think that people being unable to go there in their head and really believe you, I think that has zero relevance to whether or not it actually happened. I do believe you. And, you know, this is an insane world with technology we're not allowed to know about. You know, the explanation, one of the explanations could be a technology. And maybe
ain't no fucking technology, bitch. You know what it is. You're a reptilian, ho.
You know, when it comes to
yo, lying ass up, ho.
the occult, which when we're talking about shape-shifting, that would fall under that sort of category. But, you know, occult just means hidden. If people think that this word means something different, it means hidden by definition. And technology can absolutely be occulted. So there's occult technology, there's occult, you know,
You're right.
There's a lot of things, and there's a lot of explanations for why you could have seen Jeffrey Epstein shapeshift, and I believe you 1,000%. You know, I in my life, I have had experiences that if I were to say them out loud in the way that you just did, you know, different things, but if I were to say them out loud, people would say that I sound crazy, and so that's how I know that nothing is off the table.
As you heard for yourself, Julia claims that she witnessed Epstein shapeshift. Now, I've never fully bought into the reptilian theory and anything like that, as I have always firmly believed that it's just a theory used to discredit the truth. But honestly, I wouldn't put anything past Epstein.
Reptilian.
I'm not going to necessarily say he was a reptilian, but who knows? He could have been demonically possessed.
He a reptilian.
This is one of the most evil men in the world. A man that was doing all type of demonic, disturbing
He's
rituals.
a reptilian. We all know it, nigga. Everybody at the top are reptilians.
Or if he was just
That's
fully
the 1%
possessed.
are
So it's definitely a
reptilians.
big possibility that Juliet
How you think they got all the goddamn
and I
money
wouldn't
on?
put it past them or think that she's crazy for even saying this. These are the most disturbing people in the world who are known to mess with dark forces. Who knows what she truly saw that day? Another thing that Julia brings up in this interview is that she met movie producer Michael Bay at the island. She believed that Michael Bay was on Epstein's island to do research for his upcoming movie. She also believes that because Michael Bay was there, that there was something more nefarious going on besides all the evil trafficking going on at Epstein's Island.
The only people I met there were like scientists and Michael Bay, the movie producer who made the movie The Island about cloning. I met Michael Bay there in 2004 in New Mexico. And you know, he denied being there because I did none of the media would ever put my story out there, which is what's obviously happened with a lot of other victims. He's never been there, but he was there. He's lying. And I know, and I can even tell you that when I was taken to LA after all this, and he tried to take me back to his house also. So if he wants to lie further, then I'll expose him further. You know what I mean? And I'm not scared of them anyway. Well, I am in law, as we all are, but I'm like, if we're all scared of them, then when's the truth ever going to come out? Because we've got to realize there's more of us than there are of them. So anyway, going back to The Island, the movie about the cloning, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it. When I watched that movie again, I realized it looks like all the clones are escaping from a place that looks like New Mexico. So I suddenly realized maybe Michael Bay was at Epstein's property doing research. Because when I met Michael Bay and scientists there, I would see them on the tops of the properties. I'd see them there, but I'd never really see them again. I'd meet them like once or twice. And then I'd never see the rooms they were staying in or anything. You know, and it made me realize that there's very likely something underneath there. You know, and also because I saw him turn into that thing. It's just, and the UFO that I saw, that was while Michael Bay was staying there in New Mexico when I saw that and had that flashback waking up in a laboratory. And just after after just digging, I realized, you know, if these bastards really do drink blood, if they really do, then it would make sense for them to have their own farm of humans.
They're reptilian. They need the world to be dark and cold.
As you heard for yourself,
blood.
Juliet claims that she is willing to continue to expose Michael Bay if he even tries to deny this. But I believe her, as I believe that many celebrities and many politicians and many elite were at that island with Epstein, and they all participated in the disturbing rituals that took place there. People don't want to accept this because they don't want to see the truth about their favorite celebrities or their world leaders, but this is far more spiritual than it is physical. This is about a world that most people just don't understand. And if they want to understand, they have to open up their soul. In another part of the interview, she mentioned something that I found extremely interesting that I have been seeing a lot all over the internet. She claims that Epstein told her himself that he worked with the CIA.
Being affected by this?
We all know that.
He told me he worked with CIA.
You're a billionaire. He got to.
From there, he told me he had my family's name on a list. He told me he worked with the CIA, and then he told me that a girl who accused him of planted drugs in her apartment and had her sent to prison. So I mean, it was very obvious threats. And also Leslie Wexner and Maxwell apparently were both working with Mossad. And you know, people say Mossad, CIA, it's the same thing, and FBI. Right. You know, it's all the same thing. You know, the FBI wanted to fly me there to interview me about the whole Epstein thing, but they didn't want to interview me on Zoom because I won't travel without my child, and they wouldn't let my child's father wouldn't let us travel. So when I couldn't travel there, they no longer wanted to interview me. They only wanted to interview me in person.
That is disgusting. I mean, okay.
Yeah, it's
what I'm getting from, that's a disgrace that our FBI would treat you that.
I am so.
Yeah, that's a disgrace that our FBI would treat you that.
As you heard for yourself, Juliet claims that Epstein admitted to her that he worked for the CIA, which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. From the research that I've done, I've seen the connection that proves Epstein was associated with the CIA. And now how we're seeing the FBI cover up his crimes should be a clear indication that Epstein was deeply connected with the American justice system. This is why I believe that he is not dead. And this entire stunt was just a stunt to cover up all his crimes.
Definitely not dead.
Epstein disappeared. I don't believe he took himself out. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Epstein really took himself out?
He's a reptilian.
And he's hiding out somewhere
all
that nobody knows.
The elites are reptilians. Especially the top 1%.
And you can see that she's been shaken up. From watching this interview, I see a lot of indications that seem to indicate that she was put through some sort of MK Ultra. Specifically, during the interview, she talks about having flashbacks of being in this facility where she was clothless and she saw scientists operating on her. These are clear indications of a victim of MK Ultra. Also, there's a lot of tells from the way that she's reacting, the way that she's moving, the twitches she's doing, the faces she's making while she's speaking clearly indicate that she could be a victim of MK Ultra. Who knows what these women were put through on that island? And I believe they're all put through MK Ultra. It's the same thing we saw with Virginia Giuffre. Virginia was another victim of Epstein who recently passed away after she spent years speaking out. Virginia came out months ago to tell us that she was not depressed and that she wouldn't take herself out. And then out of nowhere, She ends up being in an accident where she's struck by a truck and passes away.
Oh,
You
yeah,
think
she
it's
got
a
taken out. That's how
coincidence
they
that
usually
Virginia
die.
passed away just a few months before the
Somebody tried to
Epstein
hit me
file
with a car.
cover-up was going to take place? They
Hey, man,
wanted
I'm
to make
telling
sure
y'all,
that
nigga,
one
they
of
try
the
to take
most
niggas out with car
outspoken
hits.
victims didn't have a voice when this situation went down. It's the same thing that can happen with Juliet right now. Juliet is speaking out, and this video hasn't gone viral and hasn't done many views because that's the way that they choose to suppress this information.
Yep.
But realistically, I believe many of these victims were put under MK Ultra, and that's the reason they possibly don't remember everything that they were put through or everything they saw. Juliet is in danger herself, like I was saying though, because at any moment right now, she could be the victim that they're trying to silence next. Like I've said in the past videos I've done, I'm not letting this Epstein situation go, and neither should you. It doesn't matter what the president says. Realistically, it's insane to even suggest that because we care about the victims and we care about future victims that we're bad people according to Trump, that we're selfish people.
Trump
Even
is
though
part
we're
of
just
the
trying to
cult.
identify who the monsters were that were running around with Epstein so that A, we can hold them accountable, and B, so that we can protect future victims. This is what this is about. We cannot allow PDF file monsters to run our country, and we shouldn't allow them to get away with horrific crimes like they have been getting away with. Both the
bigger than
Democrats
PDF.
and the Republicans
Nigga,
are
they
trying to
eating
cover this
people.
up. So
The
don't
fuck?
fall for the hype of them blaming
Fuck the
the other
PDF.
side.
Niggas,
This is
they
all about
surviving the
division. They
PDF.
want us
Half
to
the
fight
time.
amongst
These
each other.
motherfuckers are
They
eating
want
people.
us to hate
Taking
each
their
other
adrenochrome
because
and
it's
shit,
easier
nigga.
to conquer us if we're divided. It's easier to manipulate us if we're too busy fighting each other. We need to aim this at those who are hiding the truth from us. We need to aim this and direct this at those who are covering up this monster and who we know helped them escape. Epstein likely is not dead. I'm confident that he is still alive. And if he is dead, it wasn't by his own hands. But I am confident that he is still alive somewhere, living his best life. What they're doing is covering up these crimes because they're all involved. They pinned it all on Epstein. Epstein is gone. So now no one has to take the blame for it. And what they want you to do is to just accept that. That's why Trump is in power as well. That's why they're having Trump do this. Because Trump has his supporters under the most dangerous methods of manipulation. He has them so consumed that they will do anything he says, and they're willing to turn on anyone who exposes Trump. And that's the biggest problem. Trump knows this. He's having us fight his own supporters that are willing to die for him, just so that we can try to get the information that would expose who are the accomplices of the biggest monster our country's ever had. This is serious. These victims, their story should be run on every single mainstream media platform, but they're not. They're not going to cover this. They're not going to give this any attention. They're doing whatever Trump tells them to do. Trump, his pals, and those even above them. Because like I said, if the Epstein files are truly released, they're calling them boring, but they're not boring. They're disturbing and disgusting.
But he won't release the
Their demonic
MLK
rituals would be
stuff,
fully exposed,
bitch.
and the world would know exactly what these monsters are up to. But I'm going to end this one here. I want to appreciate each and every... It seems that Trump is digging himself into a hole that he won't be able to get out of. As every day that's passing by, he's appearing more and more guilty. Right now, the media is reporting that Donald Trump sent a letter to Jeffrey Epstein for his birthday that, if true, would establish Trump's relationship with Epstein and prove that there might have been some secrets between the two. While most of the media is reporting this, Trump is firmly denying it. But like everything else that's been going on recently with the Epstein cover-up, the world is finally starting to see who Trump really is. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Then you would know that Trump has been fighting against releasing the Epstein files, doing everything in his power to make sure those Epstein files aren't released. According to Trump, if you're interested in the Epstein files, you're a bad person and you're boring or you're fake news.
But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going.
This all comes after Trump promised to release all these Epstein files and basically campaigned with this idea that he was going to out all of those who were Jeffrey Epstein's accomplices. On top of this, many of you guys should remember that Trump actually gave MAGA influencers binders claiming that those were the Epstein files and that they were planning on releasing it. Pam Bondi also claimed that she was going to release it, and Kash Patel. They all promised to release these Epstein files, but the moment that it came down to doing it, they all started singing a different tune. Now, after all the remarks that Trump's been saying about these Epstein files, he's found himself in hot water once again, as this time, the Wall Street Journal published an article claiming that Donald Trump was one of the elite men who who sent Epstein a birthday letter that seems to further confirm their close relationship. Remember, I have said this multiple times, and I've showed this before on the channel. Epstein himself admitted that him and Trump were very close friends. He claimed that him and Trump were best friends for years, actually. But according to Trump, he stopped being friends with Epstein because of his allegations and what he had committed. But is that true? Is that really what happened? Or is Trump just trying to spin it to clean up his name? Now, this letter that the Wall Street Journal claims Trump wrote to Epstein was supposed to be a picture of a nude woman drawn by Trump with Trump's signature playing as the woman's pubic hair. The letter contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appear to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breast, and Trump's signature is squiggled below her waist, mimicking her pubic hair. In the letter, Trump said, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." I wonder what was the secret that he was referring to. Outside the outline was also this text. Voiceover, there must be more to life than having everything. Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump, a pun is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Now, the Wall Street Journal claims that they don't have this letter, but that this is confirmed to have been from Trump to Epstein as a birthday gift. And many other high-profile people also sent Jeffrey a letter that day as well. This letter was allegedly collected by Maxwell, who had a whole assortment of different letters that were sent to Epstein, with this being one of them. Now, since this information was released, Trump instantly responded in the most Trump way possible. He said that he doesn't draw pictures. He's never wrote in a picture, is what he said specifically. He's never wrote in a picture before, and that he doesn't do that, and he doesn't speak like that this is all fake news, and that he's planning on suing the Wall Street Journal. This is a typical Trump response. It's what he responds to everything. And unfortunately, I don't see how the American people don't see through this gaslighting. Every single thing that Trump is implemented in, he just says the most dumbest things in response, and people just honestly believe him. He has never written a picture before, or he's never drawn a picture before, is what he's stating. But if you look into Trump, you easily see that he has done several drawings throughout his lifetime. Many doodles, just like the one that was seen on this letter that was sent to Epstein. So that point right there just proves him to be further of a liar. He's clearly lying because all the pressure is on him. And like I've said in my last video, if you didn't see my last video about the Epstein survivor, you gotta go check that out, because the Epstein survivor spoke about all of this as well. I believe one of the main reasons Trump was put into power was to cover this up as well. Those who really run this country knew that Trump was perfect for this job because no other president has this much manipulation over the people. MAGA isn't just this support team for Trump.
It's a fucking, these are inbred.
And Trump sadly has them all brainwashed. Whatever Trump says, they believe. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it sounds. Like, right here, this is a clear example of a ridiculous response. You know, no one is saying that Trump actually wrote the letter, except for the Wall Street Journal and a few others. But me, myself, I believe that the letter is real. That's just my opinion. I have no fact to prove it, but I do believe that this letter is 100% real because it simply seems like something that Trump would say. Also, Trump said that he doesn't say the word enigma, but there's speeches of him saying the word enigma, clearly indicating that he does use this word in his vocabulary.
Question's an enigma to me. I didn't say it. Carson's
and that's why all these dumbass niggas was voting for him.
And also his reaction to all of this, to me, is more telling than the letter itself. The fact that he's threatening to sue, the fact that he's even responding. Do you know how many allegations are made about Trump every single day that he doesn't respond to? Because some of them are fake. But he knows that this one right here is definitely most likely real. And he's also dealing with all the attention and all the negative press of him trying to cover up the Epstein files. And I want you guys to think about this. We know Trump and Epstein had a relationship. We know that they were friends. A lot of people want to deny this. A lot of people want to say that, you know, Trump and Epstein were friends before Trump realized that Epstein was a PDF file. If this letter is real, they're referring to some sort of secret. What other secret do we know Epstein for? Epstein's entire secret was that he was trafficking young girls to the biggest elite, blackmailing them with this, and building his massive empire using this criminal organization. Nobody to this day knows how Epstein became one of the richest men in the world. Nobody knows how he had all those billions of dollars. It all goes back to this operation. This is what he was known for. In the world of the elite, he was the man that got you the little girls and got you the place to do your rituals and all things like that. Realistically, I am 100% positive that Donald Trump is an occultist, a full-on occultist. Not only did I show a few videos back how Marina Abramovich called Trump the dark magician of the highest degree and claimed that he was the one that was going to usher in the New World Order.
It's the best thing happened ever to us, that he is the magician of the highest order, that he is there in his irrational mind
He was a
to
dirty
create
ass cracker.
confusion in order that the human being can find new order.
He's anti.
And you know, it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down.
But also, all the research I have done into Trump has proved and suggested that he's deep into the occult. And not only is he deep into the occult, but he was born into a Knight Templar's bloodline. You know, there's a YouTuber on this platform named Robert Seffer. He's an anthropologist, and he makes videos that dive deep into history and
He all
uncovering the true
related to the
history and
same
also
president.
diving into
Everybody's related to
history
the same president.
coinciding
Even
with the
Obama
occult.
was part
How
of the
the
shit.
occult has played a large role in the development of our world. Specifically, he made a video about Trump's bloodline, and in that video, he produced overwhelming evidence that would suggest that Trump comes from the Knight Templar's bloodline and that he is a full-on occultist. In the video, Robert Seffer talks about Trump's bloodline and how it traces all the way back to the Knights Templar. He talks about his use of ritual magic, with his Trump towers being created using occult metrics. Robert Seffer basically confirms that Trump is an occultist. And like I said, I've seen my evidence to believe this as well. Let's take a look at this clip from this video.
Johann Trump, born in Bobenheim in 1789, moved to the nearby village of Karlstadt, where his grandson, Frederick Trump, the grandfather of Donald Trump, was born in 1869. This German heritage was long concealed by Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump, after World War II, and until the 1980s, he told people he was of Swedish ancestry. Donald Trump repeated this version in The Art of the Deal, published in 1987, but later said he was proud of his German heritage.
You know, I'm proud to have that German blood, there's no question about it. Great stuff.
Of course, Sweden was founded by the same group of people that we call Swabians, and very few people understand what that means. That said, one needs only look at the occult, meaning hidden, symbology of the Trump Tower to gain a deeper insight into his true ancestry. Completed in 1983, it has an official height of 664 feet, but if you count its spire, however, it raises its height to 666 feet. While 666 is called the number of the beast in most manuscripts of Revelation, a fragment of the earliest papyrus gives the number of 616 as the original number of the beast. In a Kabbalistic context, 666 is a positive, holy number associated with light, or the sun, and the heart chakra. 666 is also the number of the goddess, such as Ishtar, Isis, Aphrodite.
The white people wasn't even invented, bro. Ain't no such thing as white people. Black people are the only people that's invented. The Bible is black.
That said, Trump Tower also features an inverted triangle made up of trees or bushes. An upside-down triangle is also a symbol of the goddess. In alchemy, it means water, or the divine feminine energy. And if you look closely, you'll see that the trees are arranged in 3 rows of 6, making up the 3 sides of the triangle.
Crazy.
I'd like to also point out that the tree itself is a sacred sex symbol, from the tree in the Garden of Eden to the fig or Bodhi tree associated with Buddha and enlightenment, which is really a reference to Tantra. Above this inverted triangle of trees, we see 7 pillars rising. If you count the points at the top of the building, you'll notice there's 7, which in Tantra are the number of chakras in the human body. In astrotheology, there are 7 gods, meaning the 5 visible planets with the naked eye, plus the sun and the moon. In Islam, or Sufi cosmology, there are 7 heavens and hells. And of course, in the biblical context, it's the 7 days of creation. In a more esoteric perspective, 7 has to do with sacred geometry. As Pythagoras tells us, the number 7 is, quote, the essence or first principle of things. The famous G in the square and compass symbol is publicly regarded as standing for God or the generative principle, but in esoteric context, it stands for the 7th letter of the alphabet, which alludes to the ancient esoteric tantric practices we discussed earlier in regards to Samson and Delilah, where semen retention coupled with arousal and internal alchemy results in what is regarded as a Kundalini awakening or heightened pineal awareness. That said, here's the same concept reiterated by ex-Freemason Bill Schnoebelen.
And here's the great mystery of Masonry, the great mystery of all these ancient mystery religions. I'm going to try and be as delicate as I can about this, folks, but it's kind of gross. This is what these people worship. Believe it or not, the mystery that none of these people could solve, that none of these people, these ancient sages could understand, is the fact that the male organ, when it brings forth seed, it dies and can't be resurrected for a while, whereas the female organ is immortal or eternal. That is what this whole thing is about. This whole thing is a giant solar phallic cult.
That said, Donald Trump is of Rh negative blood type. A self-proclaimed Christian, he's also an initiate that, like the Freemasons and Rosicrucians, subscribe to a lineage based on the heritage of the Knights Templar, who claim descent from High Temple priests of Jerusalem, whose ancestors fled into Europe after the destruction of the temple and introduced Kabbalah into European secret societies, which for a time was regarded as alchemy. This ancient Aryan bloodline goes back to the Magi of Mesopotamia and priests of ancient Egypt, who, according to German textbooks, up until 1945,
white people, y'all wasn't created until the 1600s, so that's not none of y'all history.
During the Holocene, as indicated by the yellow circles on this map, who eventually migrated north into Europe and Scandinavia. This should also help to explain why Trump uses the lion symbol. As I've already explained about his ancestry, Germanic bloodline, and occult significance he incorporates into his architecture, as well as his personal allegiance to an ancient Kabbalistic network that is misunderstood by many and completely unknown to most. When you work that is misunderstood by many and completely unknown to most.
It goes back to Babylon in the 6th century BC, the development of a tradition that merged the worship
all black people, no white people was ever created back then.
Babylon history of magic, and
all black people.
And so this is basically what came to be in the Jewish tradition came to be known as Kabbalah. Basically, it's a hierarchy of Judaism, and so it's the early practitioners would present themselves to the world as merely being an interpretation of Judaism, basically as a way of disguising their apostasy from Judaism. And what it's based on is the idea that Solomon had learned magic somehow from, basically some kind of discarded entities, demonic entities of some sort, and that he used that power to build. First of all, that he had a sigil, or the Star of David, or the Star of Solomon, was a 6-pointed star, which he used as a seal on a ring, apparently, to control these demons. And then he used his control over these demons to build the temple of Solomon. So there is a legitimate Orthodox tradition in Judaism that looks forward to the rebuilding of the
white
temple.
People stole all our shit,
part of fulfillment of Bible prophecy.
Y'all not even part of it.
The return of the Messiah. And there's a parallel satanic tradition, occult Kabbalistic tradition, that also aspires to the rebuilding of the third temple. But
whitewashing our
Messiah
shit, fucking our shit up.
Is the Antichrist.
As you can see, he pretty much presents more than enough evidence that would suggest Trump is truly an occultist. And like I said, I know he's an occultist. In my opinion, everything I've seen, everything he's doing, I don't think they would have allowed him to become the president of the United States if he wasn't deeply into the occult, if he wasn't a Freemason. Like I've said before, all presidents of the United States are Freemasons. There's presidents that are open Masons, but then the rest, they don't reveal that they're Masons, because if the country realizes that all presidents are not only Freemasons, but related to the royal family, then it raises suspicion, and people finally realize they're not truly voting for anything. These two candidates that they put for you to vote are a part of the same bloodline, are a part of the same family, are a part of the same system that they are using to manipulate and control. The president is just a face. He is just a person put in place to give you the feeling that you have control of picking who's our leader. When in reality, those who are really running this country, you can't vote for them. You're never going to see them, and they're never going to give up that power. It's also interesting to see Elon Musk continuing to attack Trump, which I'm not buying it at all. Because we saw at the beginning of the year how Trump and Elon were best friends and were inseparable. But now Elon is one of the main people coming at Trump and saying that Trump was a part of the Epstein files. Now, who knows? They could have had some falling out, but realistically, I believe Trump and Elon are both working towards establishing the New World Order. In my opinion, I believe that they're working together. Now, even right now, when everything is shifting on Trump, They knew this was going to happen. There's no way that they didn't know this was going to happen, and that's why I believe Trump is the person they're using to do this, because Trump has so many people brainwashed that no matter what, Trump could be seen caught doing the crime, and his MAGA supporters are just going to act like he didn't do it and gaslight it as well, because that's the manipulation Trump has over them. So I believe they put Trump in this position because they knew this was going to happen. And in order for them to establish their new world order, the world has to blindly oblige whatever the government says. The government has to be able to fully control the people, which we're very close to. Most people are doing whatever Trump tells them to do. So that's why Trump is the man that they're using to cover the Epstein files up. Because they know that Trump can't get everybody to let it go, but they know that he could definitely get his fan base to do whatever he says. And I've already seen a lot of people making excuses for Trump. Now, for those that are wondering why I keep covering Trump so much, it's because I'm honestly offended by this and I'm let down by it. I never thought Trump was going to release the list. I'm more let down by the audience, by the fans of Trump, by MAGA supporters that aren't willing to see the truth. I knew Trump was never going to release the Epstein files because I'm not dumb. I know him and Epstein were running around together. I know they did dirt together. And Trump isn't the only one. It's all of the elites.
They stole all the black people's religion.
Who did God knows what with Epstein.
Those are the people that were never going to let the list out. And the lizard people.
I told myself, be patient, because the moment that it comes time for them to have to release that list, and Trump doesn't do it, his audience will finally wake up. His MAGA supporters will finally see it. And that's the opposite of what happened. Instead of them saying, oh, this guy did us dirty, this guy's not as honest as we thought, they just kept defending him and defending him no matter what he says and no matter what he does. And it's like the most disturbing thing I've ever witnessed. I've never seen a president have this many people manipulated. Maybe Barack Obama, because he was another president that a lot of the population completely hypnotized. But Trump, I think Trump takes
Obama actually helped the people.
Trump has these people ready to crash out and ready to lose it all just to defend his stupidity.
Yeah, he ain't doing shit. Obama at least had an action. He had something like in his mind. You know they all working the same shit. He actually knew what the fuck he was talking about. This motherfucker is a clown.
And doing things with Epstein makes me a bad person. How am I a bad person for wanting to know who are these criminals and these disgusting monsters so that we can hold them accountable, keep the people safe, and make sure that they're not running our country? Do you want PDF files running your country? Do you want sick monster PDF files running your country? It's already bad enough that there are cultists who are doing all sorts of demonic rituals, but add the fact that they're running around on islands.
Need help with your bills?
Around on islands abusing girls.
I'm more worried about them eating
running this country. And realistically, like I said, none of these people are truly running this country. But if that's the person we're going to pretend is running our country, I'm not comfortable allowing a PDF file to run our country. And I'm not saying Trump is a PDF file because I have no proof that Trump did anything with anybody there. But I see overwhelming evidence that would suggest Trump and Epstein had a relationship where Trump could have possibly participated in the activities that Epstein was known for. If you know Trump's personality, the things that he's said in the past, the things that he's done, you would know that it's not out of the ordinary for Trump to be hanging out with Epstein and doing the things that Epstein did. Realistically, people, we are in some very crucial times. Things are getting darker and darker. I recently gave you guys a Patreon video where I explained everything that's going on now, the Iran situation, the Epstein cover-up, Trump, and how it all
we are living in the end times, guys.
If you're one of my Patreon members, make sure you go check that out. If you're not a member, you should join. Watch that video. It's only $3 and you get access to that video and 50 other videos. In that video, I explain it perfectly. I tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can't say it here on YouTube to protect the channel, but this is all happening for a reason. Right now, we're at the cusp of massive change. Everything, all the foundation of this change is already set up. It's all there. They just now have to pull back the curtain, and we have to accept what they're going to present to us, which is what's happening now. If we let this Epstein thing go, I promise you, I guarantee you, things are going to get much worse. We're going to see their plans unfold so quickly because that is the last step. They need us to comply and to surrender even our intelligence and act dumb enough to believe that this whole Epstein situation isn't a cover-up, but there's nothing there. Think about it. Trump has called the Epstein files dumb, boring, anyone that wants to know about them evil. He said that the Democrats made the list, but if you think about it, why would the Democrats make the list and then put Democrat people on there? If they made the list, why didn't they just release it before the presidential run? Because the situation is that the Republicans and the Democrats are one of the same. They're best friends, they're pals. In front of us, it's like WWE. They're beating the crap out of each other. They're doing all these body slams and acting like they hate each other and screaming in each other's face. And then after the cameras are off, they're all hanging out, doing rituals and going to parties together. That's the truth about this country. It's a show. And unfortunately, most people buy into the show. But in my opinion, I believe that if this letter's true, it just further proves that Trump and Epstein had a relationship, had a friendship. And not only that, they have a secret between the two that they don't want the world to know about. You tell me what you think that secret is. And I'm sorry, guys, if you guys are tired of hearing me talk about Trump, I'm not tired. I'm not letting this one go. I am going to keep covering this until we get a solution. And if you want to help me, spread the truth with me. Share these videos. Tell people about this information. We have to stand up. We have to rise. We have to fight for change. And we will not be silenced. And on top of that, we're not taking any nonsense as a response. We won't give up until we get the full Epstein files. If that means our government crumbles, well, guess what? I'm here to watch it crumble. We shouldn't allow the leaders that we apparently, supposedly appoint to act like we're children and we don't deserve the truth and we can't have these conversations. I'm not going for that. We deserve the truth. We deserve to know who are Epstein's accomplices, what they did, how many people they harmed, and we are not going to give up until we get our answers. And I'm hoping that you're all backing me up with this too. Remember, help me spread this information, share the video, like, subscribe, comment, because the algorithm doesn't want to put this information out there. But with you guys, we can change that. We can make sure that this information is spread, and we can make sure that more people know this. Well, I'm going to end this one here. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll...
Alright, we back. So y'all see from church, bruh, it's counting the people who's saying what we saying, bruh. Reptilians are real. They are organ harvesting people, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Taking little kids and just doing all types of crazy. It's getting wild. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they've been doing this for years. Even back in the times of the Bible. Even though they stole our religion and whitewashed it. But this shit been going on. You know what I'm saying? These people, the white people wasn't created until the 1600s. Fallen angels made these people with animals and pigs and the Gentiles and people with leprosy. You know what I'm saying? It's like these people was meant to go against us to destroy black people, man. You know what I'm saying? They was evil at nature. You know what I'm saying? And the world know what's going on, but people gotta understand we don't control who was the president. All these people, all the president, even Obama, all the president or all the bloodline of the same people of George Washington and the deletes. You know what I'm saying? The 1% are the ones who control the world, not the president. And them are lizard people, reptilians. You know what I'm saying? And with the Epstein Island list coming out, Trump don't want that to come out. He act like he did, but as soon as Elon Musk said what he said, that was just to lighten the blow, because people knew that Trump was in it. They just try to hide it. They put Trump in office because they knew Trump can kind of control these fucking inbred buffoons. You know what I'm saying? These white people, these crackers who just want to, you know what I'm saying, kill everybody else anyway. You know what I'm saying? And manipulate and use them for use them to do whatever they want out of their free will. You know what I'm saying? Once the people start waking up, what type of time we're living in, the apocalypse, the end times, gang, is getting crazy. I just want to let y'all niggas know, man. I've been preaching the truth, and whatever happened in the next few years, man, I'm trying to tell y'all niggas, this world is done. We out this bitch, hood, Northside, Big Crip, gang, Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.